And this is what the fuck they mad about. See, they women want to come over to the chocolate side. They men want to come over to the chocolate side. And this right here is facts. Due to my understanding, they actually haven't released these real numbers since around 2020. More of them are dying off than more of them are being born. That's why there's certain laws that Trump put into place. No more ABs. They were the main race that was getting ABs. Okay? That's where all that IF and fertility issues and fertility specialists and all that type of shit came from. IVF, excuse me. The truth is, Caucasians could go extinct by the year 2050 if they don't start reproducing like crazy yesterday. And this is what the fuck.
See this, right? Number of births and deaths in the United States since 1999 to 2006. We're almost out of this bullshit. Stop having kids with them. Please, for the love of God, I do not want to go another 500 years of dealing with fucking systemic racism.
Births in the U.S. have fallen below 50% for the first time ever. That's among the findings in a new study published today by professors from the Zucker School of Medicine at Hofstra Northwell. One of those researchers, Dr. Amos Grunebaum, calls it a historic milestone.
Minority women were now the majority. The majority of birth in the United States.
We shouldn't be celebrating this because Native black births are declining along with the white births. All of these news reports are saying that minorities for the first time make up the majority of the U.S. births, but they're not talking about Native black Americans or any other Native minority population to America. Births declined by 4% for black women, 3% for American Indian and Alaskan Native women, and less.
A recent report highlights a concerning trend. The white population in the United States is facing a decline primarily driven by low fertility rates and changing immigration patterns. Among the states with the lowest percentage of white residents, Hawaii stands out at just 21.90%. California follows closely with a white population of 38.50%, a state known for its rich multicultural language.
Black people that go around living their life not thinking about ways to harm another race of people. But everybody else, especially, they're always thinking about ways to get rid of others. I don't know what it is.
And Trump wants a baby boom.
He wants to fill the country with beautiful babies.
But Trump's plan to reward moms with cash and medals is sparking controversy today. The White House is reportedly considering several proposals to boost the nation's declining birth rate, including a $5,000 bonus, scholarship opportunities, and awarding a National Medal of Motherhood to women with 6 kids or more.
There are reports that you're considering doing something for moms across the country, giving them some type of bonus.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
But there are many women who don't think it's a good idea.
Do you think I'm gonna have a child for $5,000 and a medal? $5,000 isn't even going to get you out of the hospital.
The View's Whoopi Goldberg also scoffed at the cash bonus idea.
I am incredibly insulted by this. I don't know what $5,000 is supposed to do.
Whee! Les Trent spoke with Simone and Malcolm Collins. They are among those advising the president. They've drafted several executive orders, including one to create the National Medal of Motherhood. They have 4 children under 5 and 1 on the way.
And you want more?
Yes, 100%. Come on. Oh my gosh, as many as we possibly can.
The Collins count Elon Musk as a friend. He has 14 children.
I do have a lot of kids, and I encourage others to have lots of kids.
What is the need? Do you?
People die and were born. And
listen to this shit.
Data shows in 26 states, whites are dying faster than they're being born. Between 1999 and 2016, the number of white births fell by 10.8%. That stands at just over 2 million. Researchers suggest the reasons for this decrease are the Great Recession, a drop in fertility rates because people can't afford to have children, and a rise in mortality rates of the white population is aging and dying of natural causes, while others are dying from drug overdoses. A demographer at the University of Texas at San Antonio and a co-author of the report says it seems that white people going under the 50% of the population mark might be happening a few years earlier than projected. Some of the states most affected by this shift are Oregon, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Florida, North and South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Michigan. Researchers are predicting by the year 2045, whites could drop well below 50% of the population. While the white population is decreasing, the census says minority populations are steadily rising. White people...
White people. Well, the purebred white people, y'all going extinct. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know how to feel.
Do you know why the white race is dying? Because white women don't like white dudes anymore. Don't get me wrong, it's not because they're particular because they're white. It isn't because the color of their skin. It is because of what the fuck they stand for the majority of the time. White women could have a preference for white men, but they also have a preference for like human decency, equal rights, anti-racism. White women are slowly waking up. And we don't want conservative fucking men. And unfortunately, most white men, especially in the South, are conservative. So, white men, if you guys are so adamant about the white race not dying, personally for me, I cannot wait until there's not one single fucking pure white person in the world so then when fucking racism can end. But if you want white women to like you, how about stop being a racist, bigoted fucking prick and voting for people that are? There's my hot take of the day. Okay, bye!
Racism is rooted in sexual jealousy about specifically black men, but most other races, I've noticed that white men are jealous. And while this is more typically pronounced in regards to black men because of these stereotypes about black men, there is a lot of envy from white men for men of color for very different reasons. Maybe it's the stereotypes of them being perceived as hardworking or dedicated, ambitious individuals, all of things that a lot of white men struggle with. It's just crazy how much racism is rooted in jealousy, specifically white men's inability to satisfy women, because that seems to be a problem that quite a lot of people have reported with white partners or husbands. Even with my content, I get a lot of white men in my DMs who want me to bully them or like sexually talk to them, down to them in a weird way, genuinely have inferiority complexes. I mean, these people are seriously psychologically upset and depressed over the way that they look. And so whatever amount of superiority they claim to feel on their white skin certainly doesn't extend to the bedroom. I will just say that.
Conservative white men are deeply unhappy and contributing to their own misery as well as everybody else's. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Kylie, and this is my series on exposing racists. So here we have someone by the name of John. This is his TikTok @ I'm going to drop it because again, he has confessed to being quite racist. He doesn't want to live in areas with people of color. He feels unsafe around large groups of black people and has made it very clear that his stance is firmly MAGA. He believes that there shouldn't be handouts to anyone, and yet in his free time, he likes to Google videos of white women and black men and is attracted to and obsessed with black men. But what struck me the most about this interview is that he really wanted to know, am I a bad person? Is there hope for me in the future? Which points to the fact that these people are deeply sad and they've created a system that not even they themselves can sustain. They are suppressing their sexual desires, and this man even said he wants to dress up as a woman. He feels a lot of shame and sadness in who he is, and it's definitely made me feel a lot more understanding of white supremacy is harmful for everyone, including white people. And that's why there's so many white cucks, and that's why interracial porn is so popular among these people. The way that white men talk about black fathers is 100% projection, and here's why. A lot of white men like to pretend they're so superior to other races and other men, but in reality, a lot of white dads are either drug addicts or alcoholics, physically present but emotionally absent, or such intense workaholics they don't even know their children's birthdays. So really what I see this as a fundamental problem with the way that men are socialized to treat women and children as extensions of themselves, not necessarily as important. And so while the stereotype is that black men will
will have children and not stick around. The white men who do stick around, because trust me, there are plenty of absentee white fathers, they aren't necessarily caring for their kids' emotional or physical needs. And a physically present dad but emotionally absent one is very, very traumatic for a lot of kids. I mean, just look at the children of a lot of rich parents. They're absolute tyrants, and they themselves are drug addicts because they know in their hearts that their parents do not give a shit about them, especially their dads. And so if you want to talk about daddy issues, then we need to talk about all races that are neglecting their kids, because it's absolutely not just the stereotype of black men, it's for white men too. It's insane how white men blame black and brown men for crime when they are overwhelmingly child predators. It's not even close. Depending on what the crime is that you're looking at, between 60 and 80% of the offenders are white men. Possession of child porn, 82% white men. Child predators who have a kid, 60% just that we know of. And that is with the justice system overwhelmingly and disproportionately arresting and targeting black and brown people for pretty much any offense that they can gather. That includes cops who are planting evidence of different crimes on black and brown people. And yet, in those departments, it's overwhelmingly white men. I think this is also because no one likes a child predator, so white men are even less likely to go out on a limb for other white men that they understand aren't being child predators, unless they're other cops. So in my mind, this is a more accurate representation of breakdown by race for crime. But I mean, seriously, 187,000 white men in this country currently are child predators. Just that we know of, just that have been arrested, and just that are being counted in the database. So yes, white men are often the most dangerous people in the US. This is reason 10,000 why racism is rooted in jealousy. Tell me why I received this message of a white man saying, well, you look like you've dated black men, and if you have, none of us want you. I didn't know this was an attitude that a lot of white men hold, but apparently they think that white women who sleep with black men or with brown men, they become tainted in some way, and they no longer want that white woman. But this is absolutely rooted in jealousy, because why would it matter to them unless black men made them feel insecure? There is something about black men sleeping with white women who they view as their possessions that really gets them feeling angry, like they aren't good enough, because let's face it, they aren't. And white men are obsessed with black men's penises. Like, they talk about it often online. You'll see comments like, I bet she takes black dick or whatever. And it's fucking weird and genuinely unsettling how much they talk about black men. If they weren't insecure, if they didn't feel jealous, then why would they talk about it? They wouldn't. Genuinely so embarrassing on their end, because quite literally anybody can see through like what they're doing.
So this is a tough one to talk about. I don't see any way around it. And let me apologize in advance to those white men who I am acquainted with and respect and love. But you've got to speak what's true. Pedophilia, victimizing of people who you have power over. In this case, the victimizing of children who you have power over. Has anyone noticed that in every arena, it is rich white men who dominate the field? We know Epstein, where it's so distressing that some of the richest men on the planet habitually sexually abused children. SA'd, I think I'm supposed to say, children. And they were tied together in secrecy, in keeping each other's secrets for decades. They were tied together financially. I think it was, if you deal with me financially and you become dependent or become intertwined, you're less likely to ever reveal anything about the things we've been doing in the dark. The same sort of ethic is true in churches, the Catholic Church, which for beyond decades, a century, kept the secrets of the white male priests who were essaying children. The same is true in small pastorates, small churches, where the pastor has a lot of power. Don't anybody say, oh yes, but it doesn't just have to do with that. I mean, a lot of women, still support these people. Sure they do. As long as women are in any way financially dependent on men, they're going to go along with almost anything, and that's just the truth. The latest, and I saw this morning on TikTok, and it was so distressing. The whole latest thing about we're going to declare certain occupational fields as not professional fields. I heard that and I thought, well, that's the dumbest thing. That has no point. What is the point of that? Well, the first thing I looked at was that, if you look at the fields, and I wrote them down, it's like master's degree in education, a CNA, which is a medical helper, physician's assistants, social workers, occupational therapists, physical therapists are no longer, and there's more, they're no longer, I thought they had one thing in common. They were the fields women were in. Now, what does it matter? It matters because if they are declared to be not professional fields, people cannot get financial aid to assist them in getting the education necessary to go into the field. Got it? No financial assistance able for a master's degree in education or physical therapy or physician's assistant. And why does that matter? Reason one, these are fields dominated by women. These are ways women can become financially independent, can become able to support themselves and their families. But number two, I didn't even think about till I saw it this morning on TikTok. And creator, forgive me please for not noting down your name. These fields, every one of them that I named, are mandated reporters of child abuse. You get me? The white male federal government is saying, oh, they're not real fields anymore. Every one of them is mandated to report signs of child abuse. What to say? What to say? White men are the problem. White men, and white men particularly who desire power, money, are the problem. White men who cannot control their urges are the problem. White men who present a face of honesty and rectitude and caring, but who aren't, who are essaying children, are the problem. The secrecy is the problem. God help us all.
White women have a weird and unhealthy and fucked up relationship with white men. White women who have white sons. Seriously, what the fuck? You will stand by your fucking son no matter what? No matter what. What the fuck is this? Where these... Like, you can't even criticize a woman's son without it becoming World War III. You can't. No, you really can't. I don't even care if you're fucking related to them. It doesn't work. It doesn't work out well. And this other thing I'm seeing. White women infantilizing white men who they perceive as having a monochrome of difficulty navigating within white patriarchal society. What the fuck? You are infantilizing them, running to their fucking rescue and defending them with your last fucking breath. Like, the energy is interesting, but like, why? Why are you doing it? Like, it is so fucking ingrained to do it, and I am sitting back and I know I've done it. Like, I'm not like saying I'm not guilty of it, but now that I'm on the other side of the fence of this and I'm noticing this, Whoo! This is why I don't think that white women are victims. I don't think we hold any fucking victimhood, because I think that we are deliberately and intentionally hanging on to these toxic relationships and living out a fantasy through them. And I'm not exactly sure what the fuck the fantasy is, other than maybe one day we'll be chosen by the patriarchy. And so we're living that out in our relationships, either with our sons or with our dating experiences with kind of the men we're with. But either way, it's giving desperation, and I don't give a fuck about what is in my own best interest. So could we stop, please? White women, could you stop? Stop infantilizing grown-ass white men and having this urge to jump to their defense when they have done the most abhorrent shit. Stop infantilizing white men when you see them even having a monochrome of difficulty navigating white patriarchal society. Because it's not helping. You are the reason it is being perpetuated. All of the systemic issues, all of it. You're the reason. Because you're rescuing these fucking men from growing the fuck up. Stop it.
Oops, I don't think they meant for that to happen. In the process of people going through Epstein files and STDs and looking through history and all of these things, and looking at the people who are in charge of our country right now and the ultra far right leaning ideology, specifically those saying that whites are supposed to be the superior race. What they didn't expect to happen would be that people would start figuring out that the worst human beings are in fact white men. More specifically, wealthy white men. I don't think they meant for anyone to figure this stuff out. I mean, they've been controlling the narrative of history books for how long? But in studies that were done in even the early 19th century, they could find that the spreading of STDs was like 10% came in girls that were 13 and under, and upper class and middle class white families. I'm not laughing because that's funny. That's freaking terrible. But what's funny is now everyone is starting to figure it all out. And sure, there have been plenty of people screaming that that was the problem the whole time. Even I have screamed that on this page. But even I didn't realize that it's that deep. It's that deep. And since I know my content is being right now, I'll just also go ahead and say Katie Johnson's name again, because every time I say her name, I know for sure the video won't go anywhere. And again, I will say, I believe that they are in a process of trying to normalize schmedophilia. I cannot tell you how many young men I have seen in comment sections of videos about Epstein who are like, dude, he's not that bad. Or even on other podcasts that I've been listening to, these guys come in and they're like, yeah, I'm one too. What of it? I'm going to squash any ideas you have about how this is wrong. What? Like, we went straight from we hate people who do this to a bunch of people not only accepting, but like claiming to be one of them. These files are horrific. I understand why people don't want to look, but we need to look, because the fact that we have kept looking away for centuries is why we're here.
You know what's batshit insane is, like, now that America has launched an unjustified war against Iran, there's no more hiding behind fake patriotism. And I saw a video the other day that wasn't necessarily discussing this, but really kind of put into words what I had been trying to say for a while. So there is this study on the epigenetics of the mental DNA associated with the descendants of former slaves. Basically what they're saying is your DNA carries epigenetic trauma from 400 years of slavery. And the counterpoint was, if this type of trauma can mutate mental genetics for the descendants of former slaves, how come they're not studying the mental mutated genetics of the slave owners? Because when you look at the heinous shit that colonizers do, Israel is a bunch of colonizers. The United States is colonizers. Western Europe is colonizers, right? You don't see that type of behavior anywhere else in the world. And a perfect example of such is the fucking war with Iran, okay? They propagandize Americans to believe that Iranians or most people in the Middle East like live in tents and ride camels and they're fucking savages who just want to blow themselves up so they can get 70 virgins, right? This is the Islamophobic narrative they paint of these people to justify stealing their resources or overthrowing and reinstalling their government anytime they want access to said resources, right? And when you see the way that Americans and Israelis are behaving in this war, you're like, there's something fundamentally fucking wrong with the brains and genetics of fucking colonizers. And the audacity to call themselves a superior race. It's batshit fucking insane. But like, America and Israel is bombing fucking $8 plastic decoys for boats. Hand-painted jets on a fucking tarmac, okay? They're bombing schools. They're bombing residential buildings. They're bombing hospitals, playgrounds. They are intentionally causing as many civilian casualties as possible, whereas Iran is attacking infrastructure. They're strategic, they're precision-like. They're attacking oil refineries, water supplies. Every single military base that existed in the Middle East has practically been attacked or evacuated for fear of being attacked. They're kicking the colonizers out of the Middle East. They're forming in solidarity with other Middle Eastern countries, declaring that if you don't kick the United States out of your country, they fucking will. They're playing chess, and America is playing this violent, apparently disgusting game of murder children checkers. It's atypical colonizer behavior, and that is why Iran is going to win this war. They are crippling the American dollar. They are strategic in their attacks. They're not going after civilian casualties and carnage, where the United States and Israel are like, yeah, I just don't give a fuck how many babies they kill, and that even includes American babies. President Trump is on national television losing a fucking war. Iran is carpet bombing the fuck out of Israel. They've gotten almost every American base in the fucking Middle East, okay? And President Trump is like, we're going to put boots on the ground. He wants to send 500,000. That's how many American soldiers it would take to occupy Iran. 500,000. And although we may have it, they're going to get fucking massacred. That's going to be another fucking Vietnam. And Trump is like, it's cool. Some people might die. So like, these men do not care. They have such disregard for life as a fundamental whole. And I believe that is genetically hardwired into their fucking brains. Birds of a feather. Netanyahu and Trump, that's two wings of the same fucking bird. And that shit needs to be fucking studied future on. But at the end of the day, I just cannot believe. I can't believe. I want to say how far the United States has fallen, but based on the amount of propaganda I'm realizing I've consumed throughout my life, it's like, well, did we fall, or was this where we always were? You know, it's a big plate of cheese and rice with the side of yikes. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to remind you that this audio exists.
Not releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let them get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you down.
Sounds a little rough. Are you feeling all right?
I feel great. I was shouting at people because they were stupid about something.
I can't find the comment. Ugh! But I want to talk about it. The commenter said, no woman wants a micro penis. That is why white men go for children. White men aren't choosing children because white women are rejecting them. White men are choosing children because that's what they want. White men do not like women. I'm pretty sure white women represent a very fucked up trauma loop, which is our mommy issues for a whole bunch of white men. So yes, we have to be together. You know, the whole race science and eugenics thing that they've been doing generationally. But that doesn't mean that the white man actually likes the white woman, let alone any woman. I mean, we'll think of TV shows like Game of Thrones. I think of some of the sadistic, torturous rape scenes in that show. But I don't think that women in 2026 in the 21st century, I don't think you actually understand that that's what men like. And they like to do that to children. It's not that women are rejecting them, so they've resorted by default because of the size of their penises. White men have always liked children. And it is something that has been perpetuated generationally because white women are embarrassed that this is what their men do. And instead of exposing them, because we don't really have any power in our own lives, so the last thing we're going to do is fuck what little shit we have up. That's how it began. So this snowball effect, this disgusting, perpetuated trauma loop of pedophilia, it's not poor white trash. Because, you know, them hillbillies and the haulers have always been the ones to take the brunt of incestual pedophilia sickness. You never have to go any further than a white boy with money's bedroom to know what he's into and what his mommy is hell-bent on pretending doesn't exist.